Saying that the Philadelphia 76ers have been a roller coaster of a franchise is an understatement. They went from being a historically bad team to all the way up to a title contender, and now they're middle of the pack, stuck in the mud. So there's only one question. How did we get here? Alright guys, before we get started, make sure you leave a like on the video if you enjoy it, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Now let's jump right into it. In 2013, the 76ers started off the season with 26 consecutive losses, beating their own record from a season prior. Their strategy was to tank as much as possible and hoard as many picks as you can. What this resulted in was them getting Joel Embid, the man that would start it all. October 26, 2016, the day the process started, the Philadelphia 76ers played a home game to open up their season against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Joel Embid would make his debut. Joel Embid gave those poor Sixer fans something to cheer about finally. He got 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks, in what was a pretty good debut for a player that was just injured. It wasn't just supposed to be Joel Embid's debut. It was supposed to be Ben Simmons' debut also, but of course he got hurt because that's the typical Sixers way, so he ended up playing the next season and winning Rookie of the Year. These two stars would develop together and turn the 76ers franchise around and finally get those winning records that the team desperately needed. They needed them to prove that the process was the right thing to do. And so far it was. But one man changed everything. That man is Markelle Fultz. So what exactly went wrong? Well, other than the fact that he completely forgot how to shoot, he also was scared to play. He looked like someone that was trapped in Markelle Fultz's body and didn't know what to do. Someone that was scared, didn't even want to be there. And the 76ers paid the price for it. It was rumored that Markelle Fultz got in a motorcycle accident and wasn't healthy. He suffered a serious shoulder injury and kept quiet to keep his future opportunities open. This left the media, the fans, and the team confused. They just couldn't understand how such a young talent and such a great player could just forget how to play basketball like his powers got stolen from the Monstars or something. There have been plenty of busts throughout the course of NBA history, but none like Markelle Fultz. See, busts normally occur because lack of conditioning, health, an attitude problem, financial security. There are plenty of reasons why players become a bust. And if the motorcycle story is true, then health would play a factor here as well. But from the 76ers standpoint and from the league standpoint, there have been no player like Markelle Fultz. There's been no situation like his. And just when you thought the 76ers had enough to deal with, their general manager Bryan Colangelo gets exposed for having burner accounts and talking shit about his own players. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The man that drafted these players and saw their potential is now the man hating on them. If you Google how to get fired as an NBA GM, there's a picture of Bryan Colangelo on his phone. He was then replaced by Elton Brand. Brand had to put out a fire that Bryan Colangelo lit. Elton Brand hit the ground running when he traded for Jimmy Butler from the Minnesota Timberwolves and gave the 76ers the best roster they've ever had. The 76ers finally had themselves a title contender. This team, led by Jimmy Butler, Joel Embid, and Ben Simmons, would make it to the second round and lose in a Game 7 to, you know what happened.
It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger? Game! Series!
And it only got worse from there. According to JJ Redick, Jimmy Butler and him pretty much had their minds made up the moment that ball went through the hoop. That was their one shot, and they were not coming back to the 76ers for another season. Jimmy Butler would depart to Miami, and JJ Redick would depart to the New Orleans Pelicans. Elton Brand would completely reshape this 76ers roster, making some controversial moves, like acquiring Al Horford. It also makes Shake Milton their starting point guard. The combination of Ben Simmons getting injured and these roster changes would result in a disappointing first-round loss to the Indiana Pacers in the NBA bubble. Now that we know how we got here, what's next for the Philadelphia 76ers? Well, for starters, force Ben Simmons to develop a jump shot. If that still doesn't work, then you have to trade either Simmons or Embiid. They're clogging the paint. Joel Embid is a decent shooter, but not a great one, and Ben Simmons can't hit a shot at all, so they have very limited options there because Embiid likes to play in a half-court offense, while Ben Simmons likes to run the break, get out, and transition, find his teammates that can hit open threes, catch and shoot preferably. If Ben Simmons develops a jump shot, you can still do both because Joel Embid can stay behind while he runs the break, and then in the half-court, Ben Simmons can space the floor because he can now shoot threes in that scenario. If you decide to trade Ben Simmons, you can go and get an all-star wing that can pair up with Joel Embid and make a good duo. If you decide to trade Joel Embid, you're going to need a player that's like Jimmy Butler, who can play defense and shoot threes. And then you're going to need to load up with other shooters as well. Other than that, there aren't a whole lot of free agents that they can target because the free agent market's very dull. Not to say they aren't good players, but the NBA is leaving these players behind. Guys like DeMar DeRozan, mid-range player, Andre Drummond, guys like that don't really have the same value as they did a few years back. If they do opt to go the trade route, there's a rumor that they could trade for Chris Paul. I think that's a horrible idea. I don't think Chris Paul is good enough. As good as he is, he's not going to cure all the 76ers problems. They have a lot more than just that. And if they don't win a championship, that'd be a total waste. Ben Simmons is 24. If you're going to trade him, I say go young. Stay young and then just have a guy that can shoot threes and spread the floor for Joel Embiid so he can dominate on the block. If you trade Joel Embiid, the answers are kind of tricky. You could trade him to a team that's trying to win now and in exchange get a bunch of young players and picks and then try to rebuild around Ben Simmons. The 76ers will not win if they come with the same team and the same players as last year. They need one of their two stars to expand their game. I'm going with Ben Simmons. Make him shoot jumpers until he's able to do it at a consistent rate so he can spread the floor and then he can do his running the break, and then Joel Embiid can still dominate in the half court if the break doesn't go well. Surround them with a bunch of 3-and-D guys, high effort players, high energy players, and then if you're Elton Brand, you need to find a closer, but do not trade for Chris Paul if you have to give up Ben Simmons. If you don't have to give up Ben Simmons and you can somehow make a deal, then go for it, but do not trade Ben Simmons for Chris Paul. That is not a good idea. Let me know in the comments what you would do if you were Elton Brand, and what do you think the 76ers should do? Should they make Ben Simmons develop a jumper? Should they trade somebody? Let me know. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more content. I'm out.